With Minsu off the ledge, the timer beeps, and a platform slides out for them to walk onto the next pillar. And at that next pillar, Myung-gi tells the businessman to not press the starting button yet until they separate Gi-hun from the baby. They quickly do a vote to kill the baby.
Yep.
And then they try to get him, separated, Gi-hun separated from the baby. But Gi-hun says that if they kill them both, they will have to kill one among themselves in the next round. 203 then presses the button, and he says he doesn't care anymore, just push them both off.
So that's fun when you just have some retard that sabotages a really workable system because he's insane. Oh, well, I'm crazy. I don't want to talk. Let's just
Fuck
make
it, I don't care anymore. Just
ourselves.
push him off. I won't be the next one. So
Especially if
as
you've already killed off, like you had characters whose job it was to be the insane one, and you killed them. So, like having another one now because you suddenly remembered you need that function doesn't really work in the same way. Like, you could have just kept Thanos for this. That would have been fun.
Yeah. Could have kept all the characters,
Yes.
Some of the Hitlers.
Nah, why would we do that?
So, yeah, 353, one of the O players, advances on Gi-hun and the baby with the pole. But Gi-hun gets in his head and he says, "Hey, look, you can push if you can manage to. Listen, they're already scheming behind your back. It'll probably be your turn next. Look, they're whispering behind your back." So, 353, he relents. He brings the pole back. He steps back. And they're kind of about to all get into a tussle, an argument, but 203 says that Gi-hun is bluffing. He'll give up the baby if he's about to be pushed. But Myung-gi has an idea. They start playing rock, paper, scissors, trying to decide something. We're not exactly sure, but they're all playing rock, paper, scissors. This is all the O players are playing rock, paper, scissors in a circle. Rock, paper, scissors, and they're narrowing it down. And they're trying to decide something. And then one of them loses. And so they all take off their jackets and then they tie them together as a sort of rope. And the person who lost the game of rock, paper, scissors is essentially in the front with the jacket rope tied around his waist. And he goes with the pole. Myung-gi holds the pole to the side, and the loser of the rock, paper, scissors goes to push Gi-hun off the ledge, right? So the game is essentially to decide who's in the front of the row. They then say that they're going to draw lots for the next game to convince Gi-hun to come closer to the middle. But Gi-hun says that they're how about you bring me the strips that they'll use to draw? And the businessman says, sure. Let me just count the strips here, count the lots, so we make sure we've got enough for everybody. But it's just a distraction because the man in front, 336, he charges forward. 336, he charges forward with the jacket as the rope around him. But Gi-hun takes the knife that he's got. Remember, he's still got that knife that the front man gave him, and he cuts the jacket rope that was holding him as sort of like a little safety measure. And then he holds 336 at knife point at the ledge as Myung-gi approaches with the pole. Now 336 begs not to be killed. Says it wasn't my idea. It wasn't my idea. I didn't want for any of this to happen. But Myung-gi runs in and pushes off 336 with the pole instead of Gi-hun and the baby. And he tells Gi-hun that he's on his side. So, that's that taken care of. Bit of subversion there, a bit tense and whatnot,
Yeah, I think
the remaining.
I was just sort of fine with this. I was kind of watching it like this is better than not having television to watch, I guess.
Yeah, it's all right.
I think
what
was it's all the stuff we've lined out. It's like it was losing me a bit because I already figured what the ending was going to end up, and there's so few characters that I care about the conflict with. Again, it sounds like a meme, but it truly is.
Yeah, like
good guy, confusing but pretty much bad guy, and then Hitler's. It's very like
Yeah, it really. We needed someone to care about here who wasn't Gi-hun and the baby. It really was. Like you essentially have like 5 red shirts that you can dispense with as you wish for tension or drama or whatever, but I don't care who they are. So, okay, Yep. So the remaining O players then decide that they will draw lots for the next person to be pushed off. But Myung-gi says to Gi-hun that that those guys, they outnumber them. They can't be trusted. He says that they're still trying to protect the baby since the baby is his. He finally reveals that Myung-gi he reveals that he is the father. The others are incredulous. But Myung-gi asks why else would he push off the man instead of the pair? So I guess he's trying to say, see, I am the baby. Why else would I have pushed him in 336 instead of the pair of people? Gi-hun asks why he's doing this now. You know, it took him so long for him to reveal it and to, you know, finally step up. And Myung-gi says that his plan was to get out of here with Jun-hee, but she didn't trust him. Myung-gi says that they have weapons. We've got the pole, we got the knife. So those guys, they outnumber us, but they won't be able to really mess with us. And Myung-gi says that they can even be able to choose who to eliminate. I guess he thinks that they could use their weapons, the pole and the knife, to be able to get an edge on somebody. But he asks Gi-hun to believe him. He really does want to protect the baby. But right after he says this, they notice that the O players start beating the shit out of player 39.
Just
they start punching him and
wanted to highlight how awful the VIP dialogue still is, by the way. Where he's like,
yeah.
You have the father, the mother, and the baby all in the same game.
Oh my, who knew?
Wow. It's like a Marvel superhero.
Whoa!
Whoa! So yeah, so the O players start beating the crap out of one of the O players, 39. And the businessman says they'll go to the next pillar, we'll drag this guy we beat up with us, and we'll push him off. And they even break his leg, and all they have to do is carry him over. But Gi-hun approaches them and takes pity on the beaten man and says this isn't the solution. Gi-hun says they'll draw lots, it's fair and square, but leave the baby out of the draw. The three O players they're kind of talking about how little sense it makes. Just throw this guy off the ledge, he's defenseless. But 203 rushes Gi-hun, and they start struggling with the knife, while 353 starts to fight Myung-gi with the pole. Now in the fight, 203, as they tussle, 203 gets stabbed by Gi-hun with that knife, and he's killed there on the top of the pillar. And 353, when he's struggling with the pole and Myung-gi, gets knocked off of the ledge. So we've gotten rid of two Hitlers. Boom, boom.
And to be clear, one of them was Mega Hitler. Like, he made loads of things happen, and now he's just dead. Like, you understand, he only existed, he was injected into the story to push plot. He's just like that retard in Alien Romulus, and loads of other films where you just have to have this fucking aggressive, idiot, loser, shallow character that doesn't matter for anything other than putting other characters that the writers actually care about in danger. Be it in a scenario or whatever character action. I'm fucking exhausted of this shit. Like, you had two other major thug characters that you just killed arbitrarily to replace them both with the shallowest of all the thug characters who then just dies once he's served his purpose. Lame. Lame.
It's very lame, especially because each one of those slots could have been taken up by someone else, a more dedicated villain from the beginning, or someone we actually care about. Both would be pretty neat.
Yep.
But instead, they're just mooks, red shirts to be killed off, and two of them are killed right here.
Dropping
so
Hitlers
Myung
like flies.
Yep, Hitlers are dropping like flies in this show. Myung approaches businessman with the pole, who says that there's 5 left, and they did the businessman says, oh, hey, there's only 5 of us left. And, actually, you did a good thing taking the pair out. Yeah, you did a really good thing. They were crazy. But still says that they should take the beaten man up, the beaten up man, and toss him over for the next pillar. Because if they do, they'll each get 11.4 billion won. But Myung-gi says that actually they'll get 15.4 billion with you gone. And Myung-gi uses the pole and pushes the businessman off the ledge. And he's dead.
Which is really short-sighted, because
Yeah.
you should be able to anticipate the less numbers you have, the more risk it increases. Businessman was obviously going to cooperate up until you... Basically, what I'm saying is, if you're evil, or even close to evil, you shouldn't be wanting to get rid of businessmen immediately. You should be like, let's wait until we're at the next place, because at least killing you then actually just fulfills the requirement. You know.
Yep, you just have to push one person off. So you want to have as much, extra people as possible. I mean, money is, you already got so much fucking money at this point. Realistically, does one more person really matter? But you want to have, as many options as possible.
Didn't feel much poetry there for Businessman's death. I know someone will be like, well, he tried to negotiate his way out of it, but still died. It's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not really doing much for him, is it?
I would have liked something a bit more, fitting, maybe drawn out, maybe. I just really wanted to see that bastard die in a spectacular way.
You want a Burke death where he is only by the numbers, a company man, and he makes a whole bunch of decisions that lock the heroes away to die, but he ends up locking himself in a room with a monster that kills him. You know, that kind of thing. Like, your calculations killed you.
He creates his own downfall.
Yeah. But this one was just, I mean, he tried to negotiate his way out of being executed and he failed. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yep. So the second round, it ends. Yeah, it's done. But 039, the guy who was beaten up, he has crawled to the ledge, and he says basically they can figure it out amongst themselves, and he drops himself off the ledge.
Yep. I had a feeling this was going to happen because the most interesting thing, of course, like literally, I think it was before they killed Businessman. It was like, so he's dead. The other guy is not going to let them use him as a sacrifice. No, and then of what happens in the final platform. Pretty easy to predict, and what then would be the final decision. And you sort of, it all gets backed up by the notion of what's happened in this season. You're like, oh. That's why everything's been weird, because you've been pushing for this payoff, this one very big important payoff that I'm not sure the season's damage was worth it, guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how they've decided to use their writing to engineer this sort of thing happening. The guy just basically says, I won't be your lunchbox, essentially to throw off the ledge. Goes off. And now that remains is only Gihan, the baby, and Myung-gi. Those are the three that we have left. We're down to 3.
Wiped out all the Hitlers, even though there's kind of a Hitler left, technically, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, sort of. So, how far do I have to scroll until we get to the A plot? So, Myung-gi, this is episode 6. It's entitled Humans Are...
Horses.
Hitlers.
Humans are Hitlers. So Myung-gi asks if the baby is okay, and Gihan and Myung-gi start to move to the next pillar, but Myung-gi crosses first, and he pulls out the pole. But before Gihan can cross with the baby, Myung-gi stands at the other edge, and he's pointing the pole at him. And he tells Gihan to give him the baby. The announcer's voice then says that the bridge will break in 5 minutes. Gihan then begins to cross with the baby in hand, saying that if they can't make it across, they'll all die. And Myung-gi threatens, then we'll all die together.
Yeah, so Hitler, yeah.
That's, basically. Gihan says that he will be, he says he basically will volunteer to be the eliminated player of the 3. But Myung-gi doesn't believe him. He thinks that it's a lie just to get across the bridge. Myung-gi says, do you know how I ended up here? I got screwed over by bastards like you. And, which is obviously not true, because the reason that he's here is because he lost all of his money and his entire reputation because of MG Coin, a cryptocurrency scam.
Yeah, it's like Boogie.
That he pulled on a lot of people. Yeah, essentially, yeah. He really is. So even now, Myung-gi is trying to find other reasons for why he's here. He's blaming other people. Gihan says that he made a promise to Jun-hee to protect the baby. But Myung-gi becomes paranoid and asks him, why did he make the promise? Why have you been talking to her like I saw you doing? Did you know her before the games? But obviously, Gihan says, basically snap out of it, this is stupid. But then he sets down the baby on the bridge, and he begins to step back. And Myung-gi takes the baby with the pole, because the baby's in like this little sling made out of the jacket, and he lifts it up with the pole and brings it to his pillar, all while Gi-hun steps back while this is happening to the body of 203, where the knife is still inside. Yeah, because Myung-gi doesn't notice this. How very fortunate that, that Myung-gi doesn't notice this knife that's just sticking there. This obvious weapon was just there in the guy's back the whole time. Now, as the bridge starts to retreat and pull back, Gi-hun jumps across to the next pillar where Myung-gi is and confronts him, and they begin to fight. Now, in the tussle, the pole is lost over the edge, but the button has yet to be pressed.
Which was driving me insane.
The round.
I knew they weren't allowed to press the button for the story, and I was like, you guys suck. Both of you would press it. It's the obvious thing to do.
Of course you would.
Because that's the thing. They both know they need to press it for this to work. They have to. They both have very good reasons for wanting to do it. And it's the baby, funnily enough, for both. But they don't because,
That's right. It is very frustrating. Myung-gi then takes the baby and he holds it over the edge. He says, "Oh, don't come any closer. I'll do it. I'll drop this baby. I will. I'll be just as Hitler as they are."
I'm a mega Hitler. Like, test my Hitler.
I'm all of those Hitlers combined. He tells Gi-hun to throw the knife down, and Gi-hun does. And when Myung-gi goes to get the knife and set down the baby, Gi-hun wraps up his forearm in his jacket as at least some kind of protection, and they begin to fight once more. Gi-hun takes a slash.
Button.
Yep, we're not doing that. We have fights to fight.
Just to be clear, because someone has said, like, well, you're in a stressful thing. It's like, no, the point being made is that is what's making it stressful. The nature of the rules of this whole fight, that would be on your mind. It's not something you'd forget. The button not being pressed means everyone dies. So, you gotta be, that should be on your highest point of priority, is what I'm saying.
Yep. So Gi-hun takes a slash to the chest, but then he's stabbed in the arm. And in the fight, as they're tussling, they both fall off the ledge, but Gi-hun is able to hold on to some of the little, like, rebar at the top. Well, fortunate that's there. As Myung-gi holds onto a jacket that's in Gi-hun's other arm. But the jacket rips from the weight, and Myung-gi falls to his death.
But the button wasn't pressed, so we all know what happens next.
That's right. Gi-hun then notices when he climbs up that the button hasn't been pressed. Oh no. Gi-hun approaches the button, presses it, begins the final game, and a 10-minute countdown begins. He takes the baby in his arms and stands at the edge of the pillar, looking to the window where the VIPs are watching. And after a while, he looks at the baby, kisses it on the forehead, and sets it down on the pillar. Gi-hun looks to the camera. To us. He looks to the camera. And he says, "We are not horses. We are humans. Humans are..." And then he falls off the side of the pillar.
To his
much
death.
more forceful if he hadn't had to basically kill everyone else before he got to make that point. Like, everyone else is dead.
Yeah.
We are not horses. You're the only one here. What does that mean?
Team of mega Hitlers, and he's like, human life is precious. It's like, none of them thought so, and none of them were precious. You know what I mean? You might have wanted to... Man, if only there was a set of characters we could have kept for this portion of the game that could better have made that point through actually all of them giving themselves up in order to not kill the baby. Could have done something like that, but instead you just made it about everyone is trying to selfishly kill each other. To the point where I think something's broken here. Like, they generate their own little mini games of Squid Game, so to speak, in this big Squid Game to kill each other. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, that's obviously deliberate, but I feel like it makes the opposite point.
Yeah, it's like if you would have killed the bad people, the good people would have won. They were unrepentantly evil. They were Hitlers, and now you're dead. And by
the way, this is so very disliked by the majority of the fan base. It's memed on him saying we're not horses. I was looking at the trailer for Alice in Borderland Season 3, and loads of the comments were making fun of this. Like saying basically, like, please don't fuck it up as bad as Squid Game. Please don't have main characters say we are not horses and then fall off a cliff. Please don't have it all be about a baby. That sort of shit. I was just like, damn. Like, people were very fucking unhappy with this. And I think it, like, I want to give some credit. I think it does go beyond just the idea that my main favorite character died. It's like, I don't think it's that. I think it is, the context of this is very unsatisfying. And
yeah, because the idea of Gihan
got
sacrificing himself to save someone else is like, that as a concept is something that I would totally be down with and fine with if the scenario was appropriate for him doing that and how we got here wasn't retarded.
Unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case.
It's a case of this must have been the idea from the start.
yes.
For like what it was all going to be about, and it was a matter of how do we get there. And it's like, man, you made a lot of wacky choices to get to that ending.
It seems to me, even the conception of season 2 and 3 put together, post season 1 not even having a story, what point do you want to make? What is the most precious and innocent version of any given human life? It's like a baby. What if we had a baby born in the game, and then what if everybody died in order for that baby to make it, because the baby couldn't possibly fight for itself, so it has to be the result of everyone else making choices? And it's funny, because I'd be like, okay, and how are you going to do that? It's like mega Hitlers everywhere, basically, instead of good people. And then this brings in something that I find a bit awkward to talk about, because of, I feel like you should be more careful with this sort of thing, but a lot of people killing themselves in this season. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, what point are you really making? It's, as we've been over a couple of them, they're not very meaningful, and a lot of them are in the face of way better choices, and they're not even, I hesitate to say, done because the character is broken mentally. They're done because the character's like, oh, well, GG, may as well kill myself. Yeah. It's like, no, don't do that. Jesus.
The closest you get to a broken character is the old woman,
the mum,
the old mother. Even then, it's still, she's not really broken enough, I don't think.
No, not at all. And
the others are just kind of nihilistic, which I think is the problem. It's not like suicide for noble sacrifice reasons. It is suicide because one of them couldn't be bothered to try and jump. One of them decided someone else should take care of the baby because she was sad. One of them decided that he didn't want to be a lunchbox. And one of them, who was the other one? I'm missing the suicide. There's more.
Junhee, the mother?
She
couldn't be bothered to jump.
The old lady.
The point is that nobody has a good reason to do it.
Yeah. It's a little hard to not notice that there's several, and that they didn't write them particularly meaningful to the point where a lot of people come away with, and I can't say it's unfair as an interpretation of, man, this was fucking apathetic. Yeah, I really hesitate to use the word nihilism, because I think it gets spread around on a lot of media that wants to explore darker stuff. But this one, it is bordering. It's like, you guys, you needed more good shit to back this up. Like, because holy shit, man. It's getting pretty rough in this story, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, a valid exploration of darker themes, one that was actually aiming to make a point about cynicism, would have very clearly and unambiguously shown you that the games were forcing them to make this decision. That would be different. That wouldn't be nihilistic, and it would be an exploration of the darker side of this reality. But the games didn't do that because they all have eminently better options available to them, or at least to try first before falling back to it. The reason I'd say it's nihilistic precisely is that there are better options available. None of those better options are taken, and it is done because the characters just don't have any further use in the story. In which case, that kind of is nihilism, right? It's just like, well, I guess it's time for me to die. Why? Because it is. Okay, then.
Well, the mum,
off she goes.
To have hanged herself after knowing there's an innocent life that desperately needs care, that she recognized the value of, but somehow concludes that life is meaningless to live. It's like, that's nihilistic, is it not? Like,
yes.
Like, how could it not be categorized that way? The other ones, there needs to be a bit more of, like, with that one, I'm squarely hitting the writers on, like, you fucked up huge with that one. The mother, dropping herself off, it's like, yeah, you guys fucked up a little, and I don't know that you even know. Like, that one I can believe they thought they had it right because they're like, no, she had no choice, and you're like, no, she did though, but you guys just don't really see it because you suck. There's just different degrees of all of it, and yeah, I don't know. Not quite what I was looking for the end, but this is what happens when you have to rush it, I guess.
Rush, but it's like 3 years.
They had to, well, I don't know what to say, man. That's,
nearly 4 years at this point. With it all said and done. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of inexplicable, isn't it?
Yeah, also, I think that's a good point in chat. I almost want to say, like, if you had a story that addressed nihilism, and portrayed it and then responded to it, or whatever have you, like, that can still be very engaging and excellently written. This is a kind of nihilism that's more so knocking on at the point, which is that the story was meaningless. As in, like, so many of these payoffs are just like, what was the point of that? Why did you do that? And the only answers you can draw are just the writers being confused.
Well, now I guess we're kind of in the resolution of everything now.
Yep.
That we have our winner. Yeah,
yes,
so
because ultimately the detective storyline, the whole point of it, if you're like, well, what was the point of it? The whole point was that they get to the island with like a big force to take the island, which means the island gets blown up. Like, essentially, the detective finding the island brings about the end of the game around about the same time that the game ends.
Dr. Evil level self-destruct of my evil villain island because they found us, sort of thing. But I mean,
yeah, there's a Coast Guard boat coming, so they have the whole island rigged with explosives, and they set it off, and it explodes. The island explodes. There's a ferry, though, that all the vans that were used by the Squid people to get players from the mainland, they've been put on the ferry, and the ferry takes off into the fog with all the workers still on it. And, I mean, the Coast Guard's here, they blow up the island. No, Eel, she was going to kill herself, but then she heard the baby crying, and that like changed her mind, and so she got on the ferry with the rest of them to get back to the mainland. It's almost like, what do you say? I guess we can just go point by point.
I know we may have talked about it when we summarized it. I just want to be clear because of how stupid it is. It deserves re-mentioning, but the two brothers that met up with each other post-season, or at the end of season 1, meet up with each other once again, and nothing happens.
Yeah, I mean, so the front man goes up in the elevator to go get the baby from the top of the pillar, and as he's holding the baby, the Detective Wang has entered into the facility, has gotten himself into the front man's room, and then is looking at the front man as front man's on the pillar with a baby, and he says, "Inho, why did you do it?" But Frontman just ignores him.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's actually it. That's it.
The entire detective plotline was fucking pointless. All 3 seasons.
It'd be worth even like trying to tally up the amount of time spent on it, and this is the payoff. It's just, hey, why did you do thing? No answer.
No answer. He just gets ignored. So, the island has been exploded. Yeah. So we cut to the next scene. There's a figure in a dark hallway, and he's walking down some kind of hotel floor, and he shoots the door to get it to open with his pistol, and he finds a massive stash of money inside. It's the big stash of Gi-hun's money.
He's going to take it. It's not his, or
he's going to take it.
Are we sure it's a guy?
Or it could be some sort of a robot creature.
Ooh, could be an alien.
Android. It is Asia. They're into that. They like their androids, So, 6 months later, we cut to 6 months later. Okay.
Not a reassuring thing to say. 6 months later, really?
Not
6
really,
months later.
Yeah.
we just go down the list. No Eel is having her picture drawn by the father, right? Who she was able to get out of the games at the fairground where he works as an artist. Yep. The daughter with cancer doesn't have cancer anymore. She walks up and Nail says she heard that about the daughters. I mean, it's almost like because it's weird to get to the end of the No Eel plot and to just be like, "Yep, she got the father back, and the daughter doesn't have cancer anymore." I don't actually really even know how the daughter got cured of cancer, because all they say is that the father said it was she's all better now with everybody's help.
Yeah, I guess they raise money.
And
or something.
I suppose so. I guess so. Yeah. So that's good,
Very embarrassing storytelling of like, isn't it sad that there's a guy whose daughter has cancer, so he goes to Squid Game to try and raise money to do it, but there's one of the Squid Game workers who knows who they are, and so she gets him out, and then her cancer's solved by people raising money. A friend tells you that as their pitch for a story, you'd be like, what, does anything happen? Like, is anything else in there?
Yeah, he's like, what's the theme you're going for here? Is this some weird meta story?
Humans are great and nice, aren't they?
Might as well just sum up all the No Eel stuff. She gets a call from the broker who helps to connect people from North and South Korea, families and stuff like that, find people, and he gives her a lead that her lost daughter may have been spotted in China. And so she's going to go off in a jet plane to fly to China and try and find her daughter.
Yay.
And that's that plot line.
Woohoo.
Yeah, sweet. Meanwhile, at Mujin Penitentiary, you might ask, what does this have to do with, why are we at Mujin Penitentiary? What could this have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything, you fool. This is where Wu has been incarcerated. Wu has been incarcerated? First off, who is Wu, and why has he been incarcerated? Because he broke into the captain's house, and he was bit by the dog, and he stole his phone from the cops.
All I can say is, chat, you're lucky we skipped over all of it, alright? It's just nonsense.
Look, this is the resolution of the Detective Huang B plot. Wu is his friend. Wu, I actually like Wu. I think he's a fun actor. I like his expressions. He has a personality. He's not like an idiot or moron or anything.
He actually did some detecting.
Yeah, he did.
He actually did.
Yeah,
he's not a detective.
He actually did. But yeah, he basically he had to spend 6 months in the slammer for what he did to try and get the information about the captain. And so him and his coworker, Wu and his coworker, say they're gonna turn the pink motel that they were using at the beginning to organize the searching for the jockey player. But they're gonna make it nice and they're gonna renovate it, and that'll be their gig to do. So there you go. Huang goes to his house. This is 6 months later. Huang goes to his house, Detective Huang, and when he gets inside of his house, he notices that the baby is there.
Wow.
It has been left in a crib on the table, wearing 222's jacket.
Wow.
And on the baby, there is a note, and it has the Squid Game's little calling card on it, the square, the circle, and the triangle. And it says player 222, winner. And there's a credit card with the note. And when he takes it to an ATM, the machine asks for the 4-digit number, and he puts 0222. And the balance is 45.6 billion won. Wow.
Ah, damn.
Wow, yeah. This is almost the end. So, Los Angeles, United States. Oh my goodness, we're in America. The front man arrives at a house in L.A. and he wants to see Miss Seong Gae-young. This is Gi-hun's daughter. He says that he knew Song Gi-hun, and he delivers her a black box with a circle, triangle, and square on it. And he says that he's passed away, and this are the things he wanted you to have. And inside there is his jacket, his 456 jacket. That's still a little bit bloodied, kind of fucked up. But then there's also a credit card that has his name on it with the remainder of his winnings, probably. So, yeah. There you go. And then the front man drives away.
Felt a little, I guess, iffy about the
What
fact
is this
that you're
meant to
choosing
be?
to have the kill Gian pay off, but then also just be like, he never fixed the relationship with his daughter. It just went bad. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, because
Was that
the girl
original
even says
plan?
that.
What was the plan?
Yeah, because the girl says if the box is from my dad, then I don't care about him anymore. I don't care if he contacts me. I'll pretend he doesn't exist, so he shouldn't even bother getting in touch. So yeah,
Yeah,
And
I
That's-
don't
also,
know.
like, what exactly? What's the tone that we're going for here? Because, like you know, what are we trying to do here? I sure hope we're not saying this is meant to be a happy ending. That
No.
like, oh well, they got money. They got the money though. Detective Man
That's
got
what I
some
mean,
money,
what's-
and Guillaume's daughter got the
What is
money.
it-
It's like
what's missing here
it's
is
the money
that
from the
she
game.
never gets to understand on any significant, meaningful level who her dad was.
nope.
She just, it's like, here's some money. It's like,
he
okay.
just died. He just died, and he left me a whole bunch of money. That's weird. Doesn't
Yeah,
change how I
this
feel
doesn't
about
say
him.
anything about
Yeah, I mean,
whether
she
or
could
not he was like a paragon or anything.
You know, or like why he was an absent father. Like she could still absolutely hate his guts, but now be slightly richer in doing it, which is like the whole ending in general just feels, I think, probably deliberately ambiguous in the sense that the system kind of rumbles on regardless. Like the money is still dispensed, contacts are still made, the games are still played, employees are still employees. I don't know if it wants you to think that maybe the front man has had a change of heart based on what he's seen, but he doesn't. So
Yeah.
He has not. So yeah,
he hasn't. And,
I mean,
and the big revelation that's coming is that there's a site B. So fuck it, it carries on.
Yeah, that's right. As the front man drives away in his Cadillac, he goes downtown to L.A. And he notices that in the alleyway, as he passes by, there is a man who is playing Docky with a woman in a suit, who's played by Kate Blanchett. The woman in the front man's eyes meet for a moment. She gives a subtle smile, and the front man looks a little pensive, but he rolls the window, and they drive on down the road. And the pair keep playing the game, and she slaps the man when he loses, and he says he wants to keep playing. So there's even more Squid Games out there.
it has already been pointed out by plenty of people, but it's obviously worth saying. Why the fuck are they playing a South Korean game in America? Like
Yeah, the
why wouldn't they be
Americanized
playing an
version of
American
Squid Game you'd think would have an American
Yeah,
game, but
It
oh
would have an
well.
American game. Why would it be a South Korean game? Like, the whole point is that they're meant to be games that everybody broadly recognizes and understands. So why would you go to America and play some game that nobody has ever heard of before that you would have to explain to them, like, somewhat? Like, why would they be playing this? It's like, well, they're playing it because it's the game that you play to get recruited. It's like, yeah, in South Korea, not in America. Why would you be playing something else? It's just
It's also
stupid.
just a
It's
bit,
really silly.
a bit cringy anyway, isn't it? Like,
Well, of course it is. Like, oh yeah, American Squid Game coming to Netflix soon. It's like, man, holy shit, nothing ends. Nothing truly ends, does
No.
it? It
to be
just
fair,
goes
I
forever
think
and ever.
this about plenty of things. Obviously, it's just that it is so successful. Why would they end it? You know,
No,
never
there's
gonna
no
happen.
reason to. As much as people would say, no, you don't get it. It's, the Squid Game continuing and being commercialized. It's like, yeah, it doesn't change that that's going to happen though, because they want to make some money. Like, they want to make money, and they're going to make money. It'll prove to be the right decision.
Yeah.
To continue Squid Game and to do a Western version, because as silly as it is, people do treat something in a foreign language as a barrier to entry.
They do.
If Squid Game was American, it probably would have been even more successful than it ended up being. So
And there's
of
a
course they're
slim
going to
chance
continue.
as well. Like the American version gets written by somebody who actually does want to continue
Well,
the story, which
Fincher.
evidently this creator did not.
Yeah.
So
And
it
hey,
doesn't have to be worse.
Fincher worked with Kate Blanchett on Benjamin Button, so maybe he even wanted to cast.
So,
Yeah.
He was like, I want her.
perhaps. But I mean, I suppose again, even with all of that said about how lame it is that it's just going to continue and there'll be an American version, they'll probably keep doing it forever as long as they can to make money. If David Fincher is significantly involved, it's probably going to be better.
Yeah.
Than this.
He's not
than
going to
this
have
version.
3 different useless
yeah.
plot lines. That's not what he does. So, like,
Yeah, he's a
No.
little above that.
It would be quite funny though if like the American Squid Game starts and like the first episode is the detective sailing across the Pacific, just like just on his mission forever.
No, Finch just says like, I'm gonna make that fucking storyline worthwhile. That detective's getting a fucking payoff, okay?
That's it, by the way.
That's
the
Squid
end.
Game season
Yeah.
3.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, it's been unfortunate, isn't it, really? Because if someone said, well, so what? Is it bad? It's like, that's complicated.
It is a mixed bag, but ultimately it feels me leaving. I leave it feeling quite disappointed.
Once I was done with it, I just never thought about it again, like until now when we're talking about it. It's like it didn't have an impact, and I think the problem is that when you talk about season 3, and given that season 3 is the end of the story, there's a sufficient number of problems that it might actually slide into the bad territory overall.
I think it qualifies if we split it all up into like, bad, mid, good, excellent, and terrible. I think it's in bad.
Well, I mean,
Which is
consider
pretty
that,
unfortunate.
especially for those watching, we really didn't cover the B and C plots at all.
Yeah,
They are a
that's the thing
huge
that's worth
chunk.
noting. They suck. Those plots suck. And so then you're left with the A plot as being a mixed bag that I would say in season 3 leans more toward. Well, the thing is that season 3 is not like some substantial drop off from season 2. Season 2 was rough.
It had the organ plot line and
continuation of that.
the detective plot line that were just as awful.
But then it hadn't got around to
Frontman
assassinating
and Dion.
characters yet, right?
That's
and it's still
true.
happy,
Yeah.
like you said, Frontman is there.
Yeah.
I said prior to our big discussion that 2 and 3 are basically the same to me quality. I've been swayed. I think season 3 is definitively worse now.
I think
mainly
it's worse too.
because of the
Sure,
character
sure.
assassination and theme damage, as well as world building damage, which
Worse
I hadn't
games.
even anticipated properly.
Well,
I don't. The jump rope was kind of lame.
I'd say,
I like the
Jump
hide
Rope
and seek.
was lame. Hide and seek, because the overall quality of the games, I would say, season 1 has the marbles, which is the best one. Like,
But that's
number
almost
1.
like more characters than a game thing in a way.
I'd say that the game, the game gets compliments because it invites a lot of potential. It's so dynamic with all of the different rules that the players can implement on how to do it, whether or not they want it to be like fair, whether it's an all or nothing deal, the deception, all of that's really good. But the problem is that like season 1 has a lot of games that kind of aren't that interesting. Like the honeycomb one is fine. There's nothing like really wrong with it, but it's not super interesting. The tug of war is also pretty straightforward as well. And obviously the glass bridge has many problems with its implementation, even though in concept it's pretty awesome. Whereas in this one, red light, green light, again, it's like, right, nothing to be said about that. The second game was really cool. I'm a big fan of that second one. And Mingle was, I think it's safe to say Mingle is great, if not excellent, as a
Mingle's
game.
really
Lots of
good.
really good stuff to happen in there. And then we had Hide and Seek, which was good. And then Jump Rope, which was, I would say, certainly one of the weaker ones. And then the Tower one is fine, again, in concept, but like the way that it plays out is pretty fucking annoying. So in that sense, it's kind of hard to say whether the games are better. It's like, well, the games overall probably average out as being similar quality.
Because I do want to. The reason why it was thought that way is because season 2, its ending is shit, like, really bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
And it like leaves a sour taste, sort of thing.
I understand the point that's being made of humans.
Humans
are whoever they choose to be. Whether we're good or bad, that's entirely up to us. We always have the capacity to make good choices. That's fine, but how we get there is pretty compromised in a way that it's the reason why you can't have a theme conversation. You truly cannot have a theme conversation independent of the plot and character writing, because if you write the plot or the characters in ways that contradict that theme, it doesn't matter whether or not it can be said like, well, I understand the point that you're getting at ultimately. It's like, sure, but how you got there is flawed. It's compromised. The theme is compromised.
Sad.
Yep. I don't think it will not age well. It didn't leave a great taste in my mouth. I felt like we wasted a whole bunch of time.
People
I
stopped
really
talking about it
didn't
after
feel
like
those
3
big-
days. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was actually kind of wild.
It is kind
I
of
didn't
funny
even
as
have
well
to
that,
worry
like,
about spoilers because no one was talking about
Yeah.
them.
No, like I'd heard maybe one, like the big Kate Blanchett was the only one
Yeah.
and that's it. But the rest of it was just, I think I heard there was a baby involved, but that was basic. Like no one seemed particularly keen to actually talk about the specifics or the characters or the games even. It was just, it's happening. Kate Blanchett's in it.
It sure did happen.
Yeah. It's kind of like looking back as well, doesn't, because season 1, it ends with that sort of Matrix tribute, right? In the sense that like, it's similar ending beat of out of the system, emerges as new man with new power and new knowledge, effectively does the phone call saying, I'm going to come for you next. And like he has the dodgy red hair, which is a very strange look, but you know, it's I like what they were going for. And then if you like the sequel and then the sequel to the sequel have also kind of followed the Matrix trajectory in the sense that, okay, you did have a cool idea. I'm not sure you're really developing this particular. Oh no, you're definitely not developing this particularly well at all. Maybe you should just not have bothered. Maybe it actually was best as a one and done. Leave it with that sort of optimistic note of a guy who's going to go and take this horrible corrupt system down. Don't bring people back into the system and have him fuck around for a bit and then conclude that people aren't horses, die.
Oh well, you know. Would you guys recommend people check out season? You can't really do 2 without 3. So when you're watching Squid Game, do you watch just season 1 or do you watch all 3 seasons?
I'd watch
I feel like season one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I get
2 and
that.
3 are just we're getting into the opportunity cost of asking people to watch 12 episodes, 2 seasons of TV, when I would just point them in different directions. It just there's way too much other stuff that floats to the surface, and the highs of season 1, you're just not gonna get them from 2 and 3. Like season 2's got its moments, certainly. Season 3 has some, but it just isn't. I mean, it just doesn't. Doesn't get there.
Yeah, I agree. I suppose that wraps us up. Obviously, disappointing. Some stuff in there that's enjoyable, but a lot of wasted time and a lot of stuff that they apparently couldn't handle in terms of payoffs because they botched a whole bunch of it. And this is funny because this is what you're hearing is a much more positive view on the season than what I saw from the majority of the fans. Squid Game fans were not happy. So, not even a crowd-pleasing sort of season. I guess the future of Squid Game critical acclaim will be left to the American version.